Step into office hours with California's doctor, where health meets real talk. Hosted by the California Surgeon General, these conversations will tackle health issues that truly impact everyday life. From mental health struggles to game-changing medical innovations in public health, we will dive deep into the topics that matter most to Californians and their community. Informative, empowering, and thought-provoking. Whether a professional advocate or simply curious about improving well-being, these conversations are a trusted source for insight and guidance. Your health is the foundation for a healthier future. Let's build it together. On this episode of Office Hours with the California Surgeon General, Dr. Diana E. Ramos sits down with Mel Mah to discuss wellness and how finding your purpose impacts your health.
Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Diana Ramos, California Surgeon General, and it is truly my pleasure to welcome today Mel Mah. Mel is a Chinese-Canadian writer, director, and producer from Toronto whose work has played at Cannes, New Filmmakers Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival, and the Cleveland International Film Festival, among others. A gifted person, as you can hear. She's currently developing her first feature film, a dramedy starring Ken Jeong. In addition to her cinematic work, Mel's an internationally renowned yoga and meditation teacher. She's the director of You Got This Girl, an organization that empowers women through mindfulness, and she's also an instructor on the Calm app, where her videos have garnered over 1 million views. Now, on a personal note, I want to share that I had the pleasure of meeting Mel on the Not So Calm initiative that both she and I worked with. So I came away so impressed with her and her really the diversity of work that she's doing that I thought, you know what? Let's get to know her a little bit more. So thank you so much, Mel, for joining me on our conversation here.
Thanks so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here and to be in conversation with you.
So you have done a lot. You've done it all. But I think I want to maybe pull all of the work that you have done and perhaps focus on wellness and how finding your purpose impacts your health and how you really help improve others around you through some of the work that you're doing. So maybe starting off, if you can share what the journey of discovering your purpose has looked like for you.
Yeah, it's looked quite all over the place and quite non-linear, to be honest. It started off in dance, just realizing I had a really deep passion for it, which pulled me away from my projected path that my family really wanted me to go down, which was medicine. My dad's a radiologist, and I was very much so excited to follow in his footsteps, as my dad has always been my hero. But in my teens, I started feeling this tug towards dance. And maybe that's a lesson in the first kind of knowings of what purpose is that your purpose is something that will always ignite this feeling of passion in you, this feeling of, oh, I feel drawn to that. It's like a magnet. And that's what dance felt like to me. And it was confusing because since I was 5 years old, was saying, okay, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a doctor. And then all of a sudden there's this pull that I felt. And probably thanks to dance, I had so much access to that feeling through my body and understanding my emotions thanks to an art form like dance. And it was just such a strong pull that I knew I couldn't ignore it. So I ended up dancing on a show called So You Think You Can Dance, and that made it clear that, okay, maybe this thing is something I should pursue at least right now. When I moved to Los Angeles for my dance career, that was where I discovered teaching yoga and meditation. And it was really actually discovering that was more out of this need to just feel more grounded in this whole different country that I was living in. And yeah, so I can see how following something that felt like a passion, like dance, actually, it was almost like that was meant to happen so I could come to LA and then discover teaching yoga and meditation. Um, I think if we all look back on our lives, we can really see how there's such an interesting progression of steps and opportunities and experiences that we've had that all really build off of one another. And that's really what I see in my own life as I track my passions, my purpose, and the work that I've really been involved in. And then beyond teaching as well, I do work in film, and that really to me is this amalgamation of dance, being in the entertainment space and storytelling, but also utilizing my love and um, my experience in mindfulness and wellness to be able to guide others, to guide a set, to guide a room, and lead from that very deep energetic place. So when I think about purpose and I look at my own life, what I teach as well is that your purpose is the very seed of everything. And once you know what that seed of purpose is, then it's a lot easier to branch into all these different things because they may look different on the surface to other people, but you understand what the very deep internal core of it is. You understand that where it's all sourced from, and where it's sourced from is that sense of purpose. For me, in everything that I've done, my sense of purpose lies in being able to spread more light and being able to guide others to a deeper place of truth. And I feel like I've been able to do that as a dancer, as a teacher, and also as a filmmaker. So for me, all of those things, as different as they might seem, they actually feel very similar to me. So yeah, in terms of purpose, that purpose is that thing that nobody else knows but you. And it's that thing, as I said, that you feel just so compelled to do. It's like the feeling that you were born to do this.
I love it. You were able to really garner your passion, your love of dancing and storytelling. And that is actually a very effective and impactful way, storytelling, to change lives, to improve our lives. And your storytelling is through film. So thank you so much for all of that you do. You're a great example of really using your passion, listening to your inner voice to have fulfillment in your life. And I oftentimes tell students, residents, undergraduates who are wanting to maybe pursue a career in health to combine their passion with
Yeah,
health. And you can do both. You can create movies, you can tell stories, you can create plays that really are educational and empowering, not only personally, but for health. So thank you for
absolutely.
being that personification of that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for those kind words. And yeah, in terms of what you're saying of like pursuing your passions, like that's going to look different for every person, right? And to me, why it's so linked to mental health, like us understanding our purpose and living by that, is we can't really be entirely healthy if we're not truly living in our purpose, because there's always just going to be something that feels off. Simply put, we're just not going to feel as aligned as we possibly could. And when we're in alignment with our purpose, things just flow. We feel excited, we feel energized, and that is going to impact all of the systems in our body, mental, energetic, and physical, right? And the opposite is true. So when we're out of balance, out of alignment, we're chasing something that maybe we think we should have done because of pressures from society, from family, from friends, then we're literally out of alignment. And therefore, all of our systems, there's like a hole in the system, or things just can't flow as effortlessly as they could if we were centered in that purpose.
Yeah, and I think, you are a great example of being in that flow and listening to the purpose and being the best person that you can possibly be. And the work that you have created through your filmmaking, more importantly, through some of the uh, opportunities to prevent at these great film festivals, really speaks above and beyond of how good your work is. And I had the opportunity to benefit from your mindful session at the Calm event, and I can honestly say I felt more centered and more grounded. So you have a gift. Now, how has your creative or professional work helped you reflect on your mental health journey? It's not always easy. And I think you've kind of already alluded to it, that listening to your inner voice and being in the flow has helped. But anything else, Mel?
Yeah, gosh, my work is always teaching me, and it's actually what I love so much about being a teacher is that being a true teacher means being a student. And one of my teachers actually says that the greatest teachers are the greatest students as well, because we're constantly wanting to learn, and that's what's actually fueling our desire to share in the end. And so it's part of why I love teaching mindfulness is that it requires me to be very in tune with myself and my own spiritual journey and ask these questions around purpose and passion and to keep myself in check as well. Because the truth is, we're all human, right? And we all are going to get challenged. We're all going to experience pain and there's going to be suffering in our life. Those things are just unavoidable. But there are ways to meet those challenges with a different perspective, with a healthier and friendlier perspective. And I think when we're more rooted in purpose, we have more of that mental capacity to do so. We don't feel so run down by doing a job that just exhausts us rather than doing something that's fulfilling and that inspires us. Um, I think that's an important word to bring up in this whole conversation around mental health and purpose is inspiration. Sometimes when I have students that ask, well, like, how do I know what my purpose is? Like, simply, what are you inspired by? What are things that you just naturally find yourself thinking about? Like that was me with both dance and film. I would catch myself, up until 2 in the morning memorizing dance videos or watching YouTube videos on how directors had made certain movies. And when you just feel completely immersed in that inspiration, that's your clear sign that this has something to do with your purpose. Um, the other thing too is, something that's been really important in my own journey with mental health and purpose has been realizing that your career is not the only thing that represents your purpose. Your purpose is something that you live by day in and day out in your relationships, in how you communicate to the strangers at the store. It's the way you do everything. So in our, especially Western society where we're constantly hustling and looking towards achievement culture, I think that's a really important point to remind ourselves that purpose is so much more than just what you do for work. Work is one part of it. It's one part of the way you can contribute. But you can absolutely live in your purpose and be off the grid, live in the forest, and communicate with the animals. That is absolutely a very admirable purpose as well, if that's what feels right to you. But that's the important key is that you do the work to understand what's important to you, what inspires you, and where you feel like you are supposed to serve in this way.
Yeah, so you mentioned it is unfortunately our culture to be just focusing on our career, on the work
Yeah.
that we're doing. And we just have to remind ourselves that it's okay to slow down. It's okay to maybe focus on what we truly love and just take a break from the day in, day out routine that sometimes can be burning us out. And like you said, go out in nature and walk and just be in the moment and really re-energize ourselves physically, emotionally, and mentally. Great
Yeah.
suggestions. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's beautifully said. I'm really happy that you brought up just those two words, slow down. I have to practice that so much myself because our world moves fast. And it's interesting, this is one of my favorite quotes. To go fast, you must go slow, right? Or go slow to go fast. Because if we're just going fast all the time, we make mistakes and we're not present and we're not really listening to what our inner voice is saying. And then we just get caught up doing these jobs that hold no purpose to us. And then 20 years later, in a job that we're in, we're like, well, how did I get here? Right. But if we slow down just even 5 minutes a day to listen, to say, okay, how am I really feeling about this job? To just ask some of those deeper questions, we actually save time. We actually are able to move more quickly and more effortlessly because, again, we're considering being aligned to our purpose and prioritizing that over just going fast to go fast.
Yes, I oftentimes say we all need to learn how to listen better, and you hit it.
Yes.
And when we listen not only to your body, to what the voice, the little voice inside you, but whether it is to our partners, to our patients, the people that we work with, just stopping and listening. Absolutely agree with you 100%. And then just you mentioned a little bit of stopping and listening. What else do you do? What are some wellness practices, big or small? Because you are so accomplished, you do so much, and I have no doubt that there are some things that you do to help ground yourself, some things that help anchor you, especially when you have a crazy day.
Yeah, definitely. For me, daily practice is so important. I have a 30-minute yoga and meditation practice that I do every day. Sometimes in the morning, sometimes at night, just depending on the day. But that 30 minutes is time for me to really get quiet, to slow down my mind, to just focus on my breath and really get connected with what's important. And I'm always, every single day, just so amazed at how 30 minutes can completely transform your perspective on things. It can change, how you're feeling about the day from feeling really frustrated and stressed to being totally at peace and trusting that everything's going to be okay. Um, and so that's always advice that I give when we're talking about daily grounding practices is to remember that it doesn't have to be this 3 hour long practice in order to see a shift. You can actually see a shift in 5 minutes. When I was first starting to meditate daily, I would just set an alarm in my bed the second I woke up. I would set it for 2 minutes and I would just sit up. I would sit still for 2 minutes, focus on my breath, and then go on with my day. What's important about building a daily practice is that you start small because if you bite off more than you can chew and you try to set an unrealistic expectation for yourself, then it's more likely that you won't maintain that habit and then it'll fall to the wayside. If you set yourself up for success by building a small habit, by saying, okay, 2 minutes every morning, the second I wake up out of bed, you not only can keep that and stay consistent with it, but you build the confidence to say, okay, maybe now I'll try 5 minutes, or maybe now I'll get up out of bed and maybe I'll add, going outside in nature and sitting outside for those 5 minutes. Um, so that's my biggest advice is to start small. Just 2 minutes a day can even make such a big difference in how grounded you feel. Some other practices, just going for a walk outside without technology, no headphones in, no phone, and just really getting present with my feet on the pavement, looking at the trees, and taking in every moment as it comes. Truly, any grounding practice is going to be something that brings you back to the present moment. And being present is the very thing that will heal everything. So many of our issues, stress, physical health issues are caused because we're constantly in the past or in the future. We're missing out on just being right here and available to the wealth of information, wisdom, and energy that's here in the now. So, any practice, whether it's breath work, going for a walk, going for a run, dancing, even playing with your pets or with your kids, there's so many different activities of presence, and any act of presence is going to ground you.
I love it. Yes, start with baby steps, no matter what it is. Breathing, meditation, walking, baby steps are the start. And we have to remind ourselves that it takes about 30 days to build a habit.
Yes.
So, yes, I love these tips. This is fantastic. So now I know part of your secret sauce as to what makes you so successful, Mel.
Oh, you're so sweet. But no, you bring up a great point too about that 30 days because I mean, my teachers even say we do practices at least for 40 days at a time because that's the minimum amount of time required to build those new neural pathways, right? To actually solidify those learnings and those teachings within you so that they become more automatic. I also say to people, it's like, okay, well, think about your mind just like any other muscle in the body. Like when you first start doing abs and you've never done core work in your life, you're not going to expect to look in the mirror the next morning and have a six pack. It's going to take time to build that muscle. And over time, the core exercises that you do become a lot easier. You start to develop this muscle memory towards it and you build more strength with it. It's the same thing with meditation or any grounding practices. The more you do it, the more automatic it becomes and the more strength you build around it. And so, yes, you do also have to evolve your practices and allow them to become more advanced because as you become more grounded and as you become more practiced, your practices have to change and shift too.
I love it. Yes. Be flexible, change and shift as needed because things do change and your time demands sometimes change as well.
Yes,
Thank you
100%.
so much for all of these wonderful, wonderful tips. I want to finish off with two questions that I ask of everyone.
Mm,
And the first one is, you kind of answered it, but maybe you want to just give a brief reminder of what does health and well-being mean to you personally?
mm. Health, maybe start there. For me, health is alignment, if I can put it simply. And speaking to what I was saying to earlier, if health is alignment, then alignment is presence. So to me, if we can learn to be more present, we will pretty quickly become healthier, both mentally and physically. And so if we're focusing on learning how to be present, learning how to be awake to life in this moment, not trying to chase it and plan it or cling on to the past, then we can cultivate better health from there. I've seen it in my own body. I've seen it in my own mind. Presence to me is the answer to everything. Um, and well-being, I mean, I really focus on that word being. And there's this amazing quote by this author, Eckhart Tolle, how he talks about the word human being. And we are human beings, which means we are two parts. We are humans that do. We take action, we're in the physical world, but we're also beings, which means that there's a part of us that doesn't need to do anything, that needs to be more spacious. There's this very essential part in us that requires spaciousness, that requires not looking at your schedule and not having 1,000 things to check off your to-do list. And a lot of us are unhealthy. A lot of us are disconnected from well-being because we're not focused on the being. We're not connected to that part of us that can just walk outside and just stare at the sky and look up at the trees. And so the balance of those two things, of human and being, of doing and being, is what creates well-being, is what allows us to feel healthy, aligned, grounded in ourselves, is when we can make space for both and find the balance to, yes, go out there, hustle, be productive, do the work you want to contribute, but also find that spaciousness, that time just to simply be.
I love it, Mel. So basically, forget multitasking because it really doesn't work. And we know that, and the research has shown that. And I'm very familiar with Eckhart Tolle. I really enjoy his work
Mm,
and really agree with you in terms of, just the human being. I love that explanation. We just need to be. That's
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. And on that note of multitasking, I view that it's like when we multitask so much, and I catch myself all the time, it's like an addiction. And we kind of have to treat it like that, you know? It's an addiction to the hustle, to the doing. And the addiction comes from this deep part in us that feels like we have to do so much in order to be validated, in order to feel valued and to feel worthy. And when we know that, I think it's a bit easier to address that multitasking. It's not just like, okay, this is harmless. I'll just do these two things at once. It's actually like, no, this is having an impact on your mental health and on your well-being. And it's looking at the deeper limiting beliefs at play.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yes. Now, the final question is, you've inspired me, and I have no doubt you're going to leave us even more inspired. What is one innovative idea to improve health in California?
Whew, that is a big question.
I think you've already given us many, but if you want to choose one.
You know what's coming up for me actually is to really support one another in community. I've talked a lot about, self-alignment, our purpose, but you know, we all are meant to help one another. And that's one of the biggest teachings in Eastern philosophies is that we are not separate from anyone or anything. And as divided as we are right now, I think that divisiveness is having a very big toll on all of our mental and physical health and well-being. Being there for one another and starting to see everybody as part of you. Instead of thinking them, it's thinking us. To people that you might push away or ordinarily, or to people who you could absolutely logically disagree with, but choosing to see everybody as your family. I think that's actually the best thing that we can do in California, in this entire world right now, to be healthier and to be better, to be in community and remember that there's no such thing as them. We are all one and we are all us.
Well, like I said, I had no doubt you were going to leave us inspired.
Oh,
Thank you so much, Mel. Really appreciate your time, your insight, and really look forward to continuing to follow all of your meditation sessions. Thank you. Keep
thank
up the
you.
great work,
Likewise.
and I can't wait to see your new movie.
Yes, me too, as well. And thank you as well for all the incredible work that you're doing. It's really, really inspiring.